Welcome to Wills, Estates, and What Comes Next, Probate Insights with Jamie Cuzmar.
Welcome to Wills, Estates, and What Comes Next, the podcast where Florida families get clear, compassionate guidance through estate planning and probate. We're your hosts, Sophia Morales, here with attorney Jamie Cuzmar, founder of the Cuzmar Law Firm. Whether you're planning ahead or navigating the legal process after losing a loved one, this show is here to make complex topics feel understandable and manageable. Let's get started on today's topic, which is a second career with purpose, why I chose probate and estate law. So, Jamie, when it came to choosing a second career, what inspired your shift into law and why probate and estate planning in particular?
Thank you. Great question. The inspired shift was mostly that I worked for a large corporation for many years. And one of the things that I was responsible for was some of the contracts that they negotiated. So, a totally different industry in telecom. And so, I took a liking to contracts and drafting. And soon after that career, I was asked by a mentor of mine, why don't you consider law school? You're really good at this. And so I took her up on that. I studied for the LSAT and got into law school. And then, went through the 3.5 years of law school. And in law school, you take many courses. And in that experience, I came across the estate planning law. So I took the course and I fell in love with it, mostly because it is a purpose kind of built into it. You're serving others. You're helping the families, for example, pass on their wealth. And I also do probate, for example. Probate is the opposite, where the state has a default process to transfer assets. And so seeing both sides of it, it's something that I am proud to offer the services for people planning ahead of time, making sure their children and their loved ones are much better off. So it's a sense, or I got into estate planning mostly because of my liking to drafting. And then, of course, the field itself lends itself to serving others, which kind of is a big part of why we do what we do.
It's wonderful. So how do your previous professional experiences influence how you work with clients today?
Well, I wanted to bring a different flavor to my practice. For example, because my prior experiences revolved around sales and customer service, I didn't see why I couldn't bring that customer service aspect to the legal industry, particularly in my field, which is highly transactional on the estate planning side. A lot of times people just want to be heard. They want to, just know that they have somebody they can trust or somebody they can reach and be available to them. So part of that has helped me get to where I'm at today, just treating clients the way I would want to be treated.
Absolutely. And what kind of feedback do you get from your clients? What do they say they appreciate the most about working with you?
Yeah, kind of along the same lines of being heard. They felt like I was talking at their level. I helped them understand the options, the process, and really they felt like it was a relationship formed out of friendship, somebody that they felt like they can include in their family and vice versa. So I take the approach of really getting to understand the clients and figuring out what really makes them tick and what also their challenges are and what they're looking to accomplish out of estate planning.
Sure. And speaking of estate planning, when somebody decides they're taking this on and they walk into your office for the first time, what can they expect from that experience?
Well, I hope, and what I've seen in the past with previous clients, they feel comfortable. I let them know off the top that the conversation is confidential. Some people choose to bring in family members, and I let them know, hey, would you like to have a discussion and have some of the other people that are not essential to that meeting step out for a little bit? And sometimes
Right.
I even step out of the conference room just to give them a chance to talk privately amongst themselves before making any decisions. So the expectation, or what clients can expect, is just a warm greeting, and also someone that's not going to rush them out the door. I try to stick to my schedule, of course, and to the appointment windows, but sometimes it goes over it. I don't sit there and worry about it and charge people for the extra time.
So tell me how you personally balance your professionalism and approachability when you're helping people through sometimes really emotional or overwhelming type situations.
Yeah. So the balance is important, of course. It's important to meet the client where they're at. So if somebody has suffered a death of someone recently, then of course I have a box of tissues handy. So I'm not so disconnected to these realities that people face. People pass away all the time, a lot of times unexpectedly. I've had that happen in my own extended family as well. So it's important to, give them the time to settle in because sometimes it's not an easy discussion. And also, people that haven't lost anybody, but they're kind of afraid of that or seeing other people go through that experience. Sometimes it's tough for them to talk about death amongst themselves. They feel like they're going to bring it on or invite that if they talk about it. But the approachability really comes from just giving, lending an ear. A lot of people just want
Yeah.
to be heard out there, especially in today's environment. It's important to, give them that space to really hear where they're coming from and how you could serve.
So, how do you define success in your firm, and how does that show up in your relationship with your clients?
I define success as the client and what they feel after the process is done, either the estate planning or the probate. So, success is just making sure, or I define success as making sure that they've achieved peace of mind one way or the other. Whether it's
Mm.
telling them, hey, I'm sorry, that's not going to work that way, or what you had in mind is not possible. A lot of times people or the clients appreciate sometimes when I tell them that I simply don't have another option or there is no answer or an answer that they're looking for. So I think honesty is huge, especially in the beginning of the process to set the expectations. And so when you set the expectations correctly, no one can fault you for letting them know ahead of time what they expected. So, for example, I make sure I'm clear on the timeframes that I'm available or the timeframes that it will take to go through the process. Probate
Right.
is something that sometimes unexpected things arise, and an estate planning is something that we can control more because it's just one on one with the client themselves. With the probate, of course, you're dealing with the court, and sometimes there's dates and other creditors that are involved. So there's less control on that side of things. That's why I encourage people to try to plan ahead. That way they have more control before something does happen.
Yeah,
So
exactly. It's funny because people will say, "Well, I should probably put together a plan. I don't have one." And the truth of the matter is, you have one, but you might not like it because the state has got a default plan.
exactly
Yeah.
right.
So, what's something that you think more people should understand about their future legal planning that often gets overlooked or dismissed?
One of the main things is that people don't pass away in the order they expect all the time. So those outliers, it's important to prepare and have contingencies. So one of the things that we discuss in the client sessions is just to say, hey, if what's your ideal plan, and assuming things go the way you want them to go, and then of course we do a backup plan. And estate planning lends itself really good to contingencies, especially in a trust. So in the trust, you can build in contingencies, and also you can customize certain aspects to control the assets from beyond the grave. So yeah, the main thing I get them to understand is, hey, this is going to be an ongoing relationship. For the most part, you might not have to amend or change your plan, but it's important to, revisit every 2 years on average with clients, is to see if any situation has come about where we have to fill in the gaps with a new document or a new plan. So think of things like a major life changes, like a marriage, a divorce, new children. Those are the kind of things that people need to understand that when those events happen, they should go see their attorney again to make sure that the plan is still suitable for their current situation.
Yeah, exactly. I know in my father's case, you were talking about how people expect things to go versus how things actually go. When he did his planning, the presumption was that he would be able to live on his own in his house until he keeled over and died. And it turned out to very much not be the way that this played out. And so we scrambled in the last minute trying to get things replanned for the new set of circumstances while we still could.
Amen.
So, yeah,
Mhm.
it's super important to sit with a lawyer who understands the set of contingencies you might be looking at, as opposed to one that's like, okay, sure, we'll just plan that you'll keel over right there where you're living.
Right, right. So part of my job really is just to educate the public. So I do that quite a bit in my social media and in podcasts like this, just to let people know that they do have options.
Yeah, yeah. And it's very important to think about all of those options, as hard as they might be. All right. Any last words of wisdom to somebody who's on the fence about, well, should I do this now?
Yeah, I would say that it doesn't hurt to inquire, right? So inquire what the options are. A lot of times, attorneys in this field are very generous. A lot of them will do a free consultation. So I do offer a free 15-minute phone call just so people can get the details as far as the process out of the way. And then we can get into a longer consultation where we go into their particular situation and offer guidance there. So I would say it doesn't hurt to just look into it, and then at
Mhm.
least with that information, you'll have the tools necessary to make an informed decision. And then, of course, don't delay, don't procrastinate, because we never know when our last day will be. So every day I wake up is a blessing. So
Exactly. Every day above ground is good. We'll take
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely. And thank you for listening to Will's Estates and What Comes Next. If you found today's episode to be helpful, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone you care about. And for more information or to get in touch, visit www.cuzmarlaw.com, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.